Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Essential Tutorial. So, now we are on our chapter number 9, and here we'll be understanding about duplicating, joining, and also we'll be learning what instancing is. So we'll be learning about all of that in detail here in this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the Blender. Okay, so the first thing, if you want to duplicate any object, you guys can select that object, and after that you guys can go to the object option, and from here you do have the duplicate objects over here. Okay, so now if I want to duplicate an object, let's take this particular cube, let's go to object, and you guys can actually select the duplicate object option. Otherwise, click on Shift D from your keyboard. So if I click on duplicate objects, you guys can see I do have this cursor, and now you guys can see I also do have this particular cube right over here. So if you want to put this cube right somewhere over here, and let's say if you want to align it over here in any one of these lines, you guys will be able to do that from here as well. Let's say I want to align it to the x-axis, so I will just click on x, and over here you guys can see now I am able to move on to the x-axis. And let's say if I want to move it through the y-axis, I will click on y, and it will move along the y-axis right from here. Okay, and let's say if you want to do it from the z-axis, click on z, and you guys can increase or just join this one all together right over here as well. Okay, so now let's move it through the y-axis, and if you just place it right over here, you guys can see this is how it looks. So if you want to duplicate it again, click on Shift and D, and now you guys can actually move it right over here. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to move it freehand. And suppose from here directly, if you want to scale it, you guys can come here and you guys will be able to scale it right from here as well. Okay, so now let's select it right over here, and now if you want to move it, you guys can click on G, and now you guys can basically move it a lot. Okay, so you guys come here, let's click on the y-axis. Okay, let's click on G, and now let's click on Y. So over here I will just maintain this one. Let's click on S, and now if you want to decrease the size, you guys can come here and you guys will be able to decrease the size. Let's click on G to bring it right over here, and this is how I will be actually able to duplicate of all these things all together. Okay, so now if you come here, if you just want to delete, let's click on the delete button altogether. Let's delete it right from here as well. Okay, so now here, as you guys can see, now I do have only one cube. Okay, again I will click on Shift D to duplicate, and now if I want to align it to the y-axis, I'll click on Y, and I will just move it all along right over here. And the same way, if you come here, let's take this particular object, and if you want to give this thing up a rotation as well, click on Shift D, and now what you can do is you guys can just come right over here. Let's click on R, and now you guys can basically give this thing up a rotation as well. Let's say I want to give this rotation on a y-axis. Okay, otherwise let's give this one up a rotation on the x-axis. So come here, select the X, and now you guys can see you are able to give this thing up a rotation. So now over here you guys can see I do have this particular object, and now if I just give this one around here, you guys can see how it actually looks. Okay, so these are basically two different objects which I had just merged over here. And if you want to go back, click over onto the delete option, and now I do have deleted this particular part from here as well. Okay, so now here I do have both of these cubes. So now again, if I come here and now if I click on Shift and D, and if I'm trying to move it, and suppose what I want is, no, I don't want to move it now. Okay, so in that case, again what I'll do is I will just click on escape. So now here you guys can see, you guys might be thinking, okay, the whole thing went off, but not accordingly. Okay, so over here you guys can see actually I do have my cube over here, but which is just on top of this one. Okay, it had just disabled that it won't be able to move. Okay, but here again if I click on G, and now you guys can see I am able to move the same thing right over here. So you guys can come here, and now if you click on the y-axis, you guys can actually move it around the y-axis from here. So come here, let's just put it here in the y-axis. So now over here, now if you want me to change the name, I will be able to change the name from here. But let's select this, and now let's delete this. Okay, I just want both of these cubes. So for that, again, what I'll do is I'll just drop down this cube menu. Let's come over here, and I will just drop down this menu right over here as well. So now from here, what I'll do is I will come here and I will just go to my edit mode using the tab. And now I will select these vertices. And what I can do is I will just select these vertices right over here. Let's select this whole part. Okay, so let's try to click on shift and select this whole thing out right over here. And if you want to change it, you guys will be able to change it from here as well. Okay, so if you click on G, you guys can see now you are able to make some things quite like this. Okay, so you guys can come here and place it quite over here. Okay, so now let's come here and let's go back. And now if you want to change it as an object, you guys can see now if you click on G, you will be able to move this around the x-axis, the y-axis from here. Okay, as you guys can see. Okay, so you guys can come here, let's just place it over here in the center again. Okay, so now this was about how you will be able to duplicate your object and transform those. So now let's come here and let's say I will just delete this one. Let's come select this one. Let's go to Control Z. Okay, so let's come here and now again I am back at the same option. Okay, so now let's come here, and from here, so now over there, I have showed you that if I'm changing that one, there was no particular changes. Okay. So now if I come here, let's take this cube 001 and I will just delete this. And what I'm going to do now is I will go to the object mode, and from here, I will just select this whole thing out. And let's say I want to duplicate this one again, but I will just duplicate only this object. Okay. So for that, again, I need to go to the object option, and from here I will select the duplicate linked. So now over here I will click on duplicate linked, and now I can just place it maybe somewhere here. Okay, so over here you guys can see now I do have duplicate the linked as well. And now let's say if I come here, and from here if I go to the edit mode, so let's select this part over here. And now if I do make any kind of changes, let's go with G. And now here you guys can see both of these particular parts or both of this object are getting selected at once, and I am able to move this thing up accordingly. Okay, so you guys, once you are sure, you guys can just click enter, and this is how you guys will be able to move. So come here again, let's say I want to change this part here as well. So come here and select this individual options from here as well and move it up. Click on G, and here you guys can see you guys can actually move this thing up over here. So now just click outside, and here you guys can see you do have this particular object of the same resemblance. Okay, and this one is known as the instancing. Okay, so this is known as the instancing, that once you just copy only this particular part. So over here you guys can see now you also do have this subtopic. Okay, or here you can also call it the object detail. So here the object detail are basically the same. So you didn't actually copy the object, but you also copied also the linked things. Okay, so here you just copied the whole details. So the details over here are basically the same. If you do any kind of changes over here, it will show the similar changes in this particular cube as well. But over here also, if you want to actually change it individually, let's say they can have different kind of aspect ratios. Okay, so if you come here, as I have selected this one, and now if I want to move it, let's click on G. Okay, so from here you guys can come here and let's just select the whole thing out. Okay, let's go to the object mode, and from object mode let's select this one and let's move it in the y-axis. Let's click on G and let's click on Y, and you guys can move it to another axis. And now if you want to give this thing a rotation, click on R, and you guys can come here and just give this thing up a rotation on the x-axis. So come here, click on X, and here you guys can just give this thing up a rotation. Okay, so once you're done with this particular part, okay, the next thing what you will do over here is, if you want to change all of those again, come here into the cube option, and from object mode, let's go to the edit mode again. And now if I select this particular part over here on top, and if I want to change it, let's click on G. And now if you want me to move, here you guys can see I am able to move this thing, but over here you guys can see it's showing differently, because over here I do have a different kind of rotation, and over here I do have a different kind of rotation as well. Okay, so I have showed you guys how you will be able to duplicate, and also I have shown you guys about instancing right over here. So now over here, if you want to actually unlink all of this, let's say, let's come here, let's go to the object mode, and from here now I will just click on Shift D, and now I will just duplicate it right over here. And again from here I will just click on Shift D, and I will place it one over here as well. Okay, so if I want to make it one independent object, that I will only change this one's property, I will come here, and let's say I will come to this option, and I will select this blue icon right over here. Okay, so I will just take out this blue icon over here. Okay, let's come here. If you want to select this one, let's select this particular part. And now what you can do is, you guys can see which one these are copying. Okay, so just come to this cube option. Here you guys can see this one is following the number 2, and also right over here, if you go to this particular cube, okay, so let's say you just click on to this option. Okay, so here also this one will also select the number 2 option right from here. Okay, so for that, what you can do is, each and every time you guys can come here, and maybe you guys can just turn it off. So come here, let's say to this particular option. Okay, so this green icon right over here, and you guys can turn it off from here as well. Okay, so once you're done, now if you go to the edit mode, let's come here, let's go to the edit mode from here again. And now if you change any vertices, okay, so you guys can come here, let's select this vertex, and from here if you click on G, and if you move one, here you guys can see individually you guys will be able to move. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to unlink as well. Okay, and also you will be able to do the same thing with cameras. Okay, so if you want to view it from a Z angle, and now if you want to just frame all, go to view, and from here let's click on frame all. And right now, as you guys can see over here, I do have all of these things over here on my frame. So on this particular side I do have my camera. So now let's go to the object mode, and from object mode I will select this one, and if I click on Shift D, okay, so here you guys can see I do have created a copy. And now again the same way, if I come here and if I click on Alt D, what will happen is I will just come here, let's click on Alt D, or let's go to object, and from here if you just click on duplicate linked, here you guys can see now I do have just duplicated the link from here as well. Okay, so now let's come here, and if I change any properties, let's say if I come here and if I just increase the focal length, you guys can see both of these focal lengths are changing. But here this one is just an individual camera. Okay, if I change this one, okay, the focal length of this particular thing, you guys can see only this thing is getting affected. Okay, so this one is one individual one, and this one is basically the linked one. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood that how you will be able to duplicate, join, and do instancing over here in Blender. So in many cases it will be quite important for you to work. Okay, so yeah, I hope to see you all in the next chapter, where we'll be learning more about this Blender, and basically we'll be learning about pivots and also about snapping, and also we'll know about proportional editing. Okay, so how you will be able to start your journey with proportional editing right over here. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. So take care everyone, and goodbye.